Hi everybody, welcome back to the Tracing Psychological Safety video series with myself and Dwayne Blomstrom. We're both here this week. So I'm glad to be back, and this week we are going to talk to you about a theme that's closely linked to Dwayne's article yesterday about productivity and performance, and how we need to start thinking that those two things may well incur a significant dip unless we put some key elements in place at this time.
Yes, hi again. We are very fearful that that's going to happen. We're not trying to scare anybody about it. We're just trying to make sure that we're all in good shape for when things return to a more normal, whatever that is. And there are a number of things that we were having in mind to tell you from the many themes that we have encountered over this period and from our experience previously. At times of crisis, there are things that can be done. And at the same time, this is, we believe, the perfect timing for you to brush up or create a foundation in terms of your people practice. So some of the things we wanted to talk to you about, I can start, or if you can start. Yeah. So we're practical things you could do have to do with the way you look at your team's reactions if you're a team leader, meaning the number one type of behavior you should be wary of is when, of course, they are doing a little bit of or a lot of impression management. And that, as we know, manifests itself in many ways. As soon as people are fearful of appearing incompetent, as soon as they are fearful of appearing ignorant, negative, or intrusive, then they are impression managing. And obviously the byproduct of that is that they are not being honest and authentic and bringing their whole selves to work. Now, obviously there are a number of things that you can't really guard against. We would advise that you don't spend too much time being focused on when people might be negative. It's fine, it's all right, it's human, and it's natural for some people to be negative at this time. So let's be compassionate towards and excuse that type of negativity for a while. I don't think we should be too focused on when people are afraid to look incompetent or ignorant, although they will do that. They will stop themselves from having definite opinions. They won't suggest research. They won't be innovative. If you see those behaviors, obviously, in yourself or others, try to mitigate against them. But the one that we are, or at least I think is the most evident one, even if you don't use a tool like ours, is when people are guarding against looking intrusive, when they are afraid to look like they are prying, where they are fearful that their questions are too personal. And obviously there is a number one thing that you could stop as a behavior, either in yourself or others, because unless we find a way to become really personal, we won't be able to be well connected. And if we're not, then psychological safety will immediately see a drop.
So those are some of the things to start looking at for, as Dwayne said, if you are not using software, any kind of software, or indeed the one that we're working with and have created, it's important that you create an environment in which you can create a people practice, is the phrase that I think it really, really encompasses it, which allows your people to speak up. So speaking up and impression management are two of the foundation stones of building a psychologically safe team. We work with psychological safety, and we're passionate about psychological safety because it is the driver of productivity that will help you come through this dip and out the other end with a stronger team. So one of the other things that you can do is keeping a manual eye. So if you haven't got software to support you, keeping a manual eye on engagement. So looking around your team, when you've got them all in a room on a Zoom call or whatever it might be, you can look around that room for how engaged people are. You can create the space for what Google called out of their research, conversational turn taking, which is one of the key ways and one of the simplest and most straightforward ways to start creating psychological safety in your team and building it into your people practice. So that means ensuring that when you've got a group of people in a virtual room, that you keep an eye on the fact that people have spoken for roughly the same amount of time. Not down to the second. We're not asking you to sit there with a timer for people, but just, depending on who you've got in your team and the mix of individuals, just checking in has everyone had a chance to say something? Have I got to draw anybody in? Has anybody spoken a lot less than the rest of the people in this room? Start to create that, what they call equality in conversational turn taking. So that's one of the first practical steps we can offer you to keep that manual eye on engagement in your team, both how it is at the moment and how you can build it.
And on that, I would say, start training yourself as a team leader to do it from a place of, how does this person feel? And not from a place of, that's what I read in a research I should be doing. I think that's really good practice, that you start comprehending it has to come from a place of empathy and not a place of checking boxes in terms of process. So you can't be, a people practice is not referring to a process. You don't need to build yourself a set of policies and practices that you will then go through, and then that will make you more human. Obviously, sadly, it doesn't work quite like that. What will work is if you take a step back and you're incredibly present in every moment, you're incredibly human, you stay in that space where you feel connected to your teammates, you stay in that space where you feel like, this is my friend, I want them to be well, this is someone who is almost like family to me. I don't want them to not be speaking up, because that would make them feel some type of way. I don't want them to not be heard. I don't want them to stay quiet. I know how detrimental, of course, you know how detrimental that is for the team in the long run. Of course, you know how your KPIs are not going to get hit and code is going to be bad. But that is secondary to how you should stay present as a human when you engage with others. We think this is crucial, that you don't do this people practice, what I would call by numbers, but you do it from the heart and from a place of staying incredibly connected and empathic with your team.
Yeah. And to follow on from that, and I think to bring us towards the end, we talk about doubling down on your EQ as a team leader, doubling down on your EQ as a team at the moment. And as we've come out into this phase 2 of lockdown and of the pandemic, it couldn't be more important. If you haven't done it already, double down now on the emotional intelligence in the team, but just relax. It's okay. You're a human being. You've got this. You can do it. And that helps it to come from a place that is much more natural, and a place that is, as Dwayne has just said, comes from a genuine place of empathy, rather than thinking, oh, I have to do this. How do I tick the box? You have that resource within you as a human being.
Right. So we wish you the best in managing to stay connected, stay human, stay caring and compassionate and empathic and emotionally intelligent, and moving your team towards a place of speaking up and being open and being a productive family, because that is the only way that you're going to have foundational people practice that's going to carry your psychological safety into better times and hopefully healthier and more productive times for all of us. Right. Thank you for listening to us again, and we will see you next week.
Looking forward to it.
Bye.
Bye.